stream. Tonight, we're going to be grading every NHL team with how they performed in this offseason so far. Yeah, there are certainly some moves that are still going to be made out there, but we've seen the bulk of free agency, the bulk of the trades out there. We've had the draft, we've had coaches, new coaches coming in for a number of teams out there, and even a couple of general managers for that matter, and other personnel. So let's do some grading here. We're going to use Tier Ranker and do some tier rankings to make this as simple as possible. So play along. We've got 32 teams here, all randomized. And if it's your first time here, welcome to Twisted Wrister Hockey. I'm Nick. This is my pup Cortana here, and we are thrilled to have you here no matter who you cheer for, no matter if you're a casual fan or an absolute diehard, like plenty of us out here. So we want to have you around for the offseason, the upcoming season, and beyond Twisters. So make sure you leave a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, do subscribe. Stay in the loop by hitting the notifications bell, and make sure you enable notifications on your device. That way you know when I upload content, and we do put all sorts of content up on YouTube here, covering the NHL, all 32 teams. So, what's going on, everybody? We've got Samantha, we've got M&K, we've got Riley, we've got Gonzalo, all the way from Chile, and we've got ourselves Toria. Well, thank you guys so much for being here with us this evening. We're going to get started in just a few minutes here. I do want to give some folks some time to join us. So this is the sort of hello and how you doing. And so we will get started around 6:05, and we'll try to get through this fairly quickly. I'd like to wrap up definitely before 7:30 if we can. It's about 6 o'clock right now here in the Pacific time zone. Hey, Cortana, everybody's saying hello to you. Yeah, everybody wants to know how you're doing. Well, Cortana, it's a very special day here because it actually marks 8 years to this day when I brought Cortana home and made the best decision of my life. So it's a special day for me and my absolute bestest best friend here. Right, girl? Well, oh, Marco, what's going on? How you doing? Aiden. Or Aidan. What's going on? Hello. Yes, hey, yo. Let's throw it down for the legend, Vin Scully. Rest in peace. He has passed away, one of the greatest broadcasters all time in all of sports in North America. And even though I'm a Giants fan, the Orange and Black has much love for the legend Vin Scully. So it's unfortunate that he has left us. He had 94 years of wonderful life and 67 behind the mic as a broadcaster for the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Brooklyn Dodgers for that matter as well. All right, wow, so many people are here already. Fantastic. We're going to have a great crowd tonight. Yeah, it's our adoptiversary, so Cortana's birthday is in January. Yes, rip to the legend, absolutely. Anyway, you guys, we got the World Juniors coming up pretty soon here. Normally they're played, I guess, in like December or January, but that'll be next week. I'm trying to hopefully throw together a sort of everything you need to know sort of preview for that as well. So maybe that will come up on maybe Saturday or Sunday, and then tomorrow on the channel we'll do a premiere, but you can watch whenever you'd like. I'll be talking about the most burning question every team will face heading into this upcoming season, so things that you'll really be pondering through the course of the season. All right, hey, how you doing there, Dan? All right, well, hey, I appreciate you popping in here just to say hello, and who knows, you can always put it on like you would a podcast when you're multitasking. Yeah, Samantha, so 2 months from Friday, so October 5th is when I'm flying out to Europe, starting in Prague, and then from there we're going to Finland, and we'll watch some hockey there too, and then after that, go to Iceland for a few days as well. So I am absolutely stoked for that, and today I actually went to the bank to pick up my foreign currency, so I got some cash. Man, everywhere else in the world has cooler looking bills than we do, that's for sure. All right, you know what? We got a good crowd, and we got 32 teams here. Like I said, I want to get through this fairly quickly. So the way that I'm going to do this, the way that I'll do this tonight is kind of like what we've done the last couple of streams. So I'm going to throw up a poll at the top, and from there you will cast your vote, and then we'll kind of make a call based on that. So we've got 32 teams here. The first one are the Washington Capitals. And as you see here, we have 4 tiers because we only have 4 voting options here on YouTube. We've got, of course, the A tier for a stellar offseason. We've got the B tier for a team that got some good stuff done. We got the C tier, kind of just scooting by, maybe not doing all that much in the offseason. And then we got the failures, the D's and the F's. So we'll try to distribute things fairly evenly here. And without further ado, the first team that we're going to talk about are the Washington Capitals. So the big move for the Capitals in the offseason was bringing in Dylan Strome. And that's important because they'll probably be without Nicholas Backstrom at least to start the season. They also bring in Connor Brown, a guy who actually puts up a decent amount of points in perhaps a depth role, but I haven't really seen much of him in his time in Ottawa so far. But anyway, those are kind of the big moves with the Capitals. I'm just trying to think if they lost any of their main defensemen, but I don't think so. I think they've pretty much kept everybody together for the most part. But Vitek Vanacek and Ilya Samsonov are on the move, right? So Vanacek goes to the Devils, Samsonov to the Leafs. In comes Darcy Kemper. That would probably be the biggest move of the offseason for them. And then either Zach Fucali or I forget who the other potential backup is. But anyway, we've got 16 people here. I want to see 16 votes in the poll, so throw them up, everybody. Leave a thumbs up if you're going to have a good time with us tonight. And let's see what you guys think. Oh, wow, it's already pretty convincing. 11 votes. Let's see how many we can get here, folks. You think that losing Vanacek is going to be a costly move for them? I liked Vanacek. He, of course, lost the job in the playoffs, but really he did take over as kind of the 1A for the Caps, and he had a really good season, and I like how that guy battles out there. All right, we got 12 votes. Can we get a few more, guys? I see 20 people here. Everybody, cast your vote. Cast your vote. I want to get at least 15 before we move on to the next team. And even if you don't know too much, put up a vote. Why not? I see 13 votes. It's almost like being at an auction. Do I hear 15 votes, everybody? Let's go. Okay. Well, we're stalling out a little bit. So it looks pretty convincing, right? It looks like a C, but some people actually said A because, bringing in Kemper should be an upgrade over Vanacek, as good of a year as he had last year. So for right now, I'm going to say that this is, I think we can put them in the C tier for now. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually write the percentages down from worst to best because, I will balance this out because, for example, we could have 20 different teams in the B tier. We don't want to do that at the end, so I'm going to write down the percentages as well. So 53, 20, and 20. All right, cool. So that's the Caps. We're going to drop them in C tier, and then we'll look at the percentages later on to see if we need to kind of distribute things on a curve a little bit more. They call me the professor. All right, here we go. So that's going to be the end of this poll. Now for the next poll, we go to our next team. And that is going to be the Buffalo Sabres. All right. Rick Jeanneret, of course, hanging them up at the end of the season. Legendary career in the Queen City. All right. So here we go. Next poll coming right up. Everybody cast your vote. It's the Buffalo Sabres. Now, really with the Sabres, as you probably saw in my offseason power rankings video, there haven't been all that many moves made. Ilya Lyubushkin on defense is one that came to mind. I know that they lost, did they have Will Butcher at one point? I think they did. But yeah, other than that, things have been pretty quiet for the Sabres. I think one reason why is because, they were working with some momentum at the end of the year. They won 16 of their last 28. So they didn't really want to stir things up all that much in their roster. So, of course, Skinner and Okposo had great years for them. But really, this lineup looks pretty much the same. I don't know if they brought in any other assistants out there. But yeah, Dahlin, Lyubushkin, Jokiharju. I don't know who Jacob Bryson is. Matthias Samuelsson, Owen Power, Lawrence Pilut. That's what we see for the defensive core. And they retained Craig Anderson. I guess that's one sort of move that we can also point out as well because he is 41 years old. But he played pretty well last year, I think. Oh, jeez. I'm sorry to hear that, Gonzalo, but at least the seller honored the deal there. Okay, everybody, we got 15 votes. We got 26 people. Let's see if we can get to 20 votes, everybody. Yeah, Jeff Skinner is still under contract for Gosh, 5 more years counting this year. Yeah. The Comrie pickup? Okay, yeah, I don't even know anything about Comrie, honestly. Yeah, I mean, it'll be fun to see if Dahlin could actually be in the Norris conversation should this team get closer to a playoff spot. All right, so we've got 17 votes. Let's see if we can get to 20, everybody. This is pretty close so far, though. And it's really close to where I might actually... Because right now, C and D are really close together, but there's a fair amount of you who actually gave them a B as well. So I actually might move them into the C tier. But so far, I don't know. Might have to draw the line pretty early on and go from there. So, final seconds here. 17 votes. All right. Looks like we're at a standstill. I'm going to close this poll. All right. Hold on a second. So we had, for Buffalo, we had what? 41, 35, 23, and 0. So I will put them in the D tier right now. Again, they didn't really have many moves that they made in the first place, and that could actually be beneficial. So we'll stick them in the D tier right now, but again, just based on percentages, they could actually move up to C tier later on. All right, the next team. Oh, this one's going to be interesting, to say the least. As the Chicago Blackhawks. All right, let me just enter this here. Chicago Blackhawks. Of course, back in the day, they were the Chicago Blackhawks. C. And then we got the DF tier. Okay. Hey, what's up, Bill? How you doing, man? How's Cortana? She's doing pretty well. I mean, we're getting in as much frisbee fetch as we can. All right, so with the Blackhawks, of course, the big moves they made were around draft day when they traded away Kirby Dach and Alex DeBrincat. They send DeBrincat over to the Senators. They send Dach over to the Canadiens. A couple of their signings of note, Andreas Athanasiou and Max Domi joined the team on one-year deals, most likely, so then that way they have assets to trade at the deadline. So they did get some draft picks, and they are going really hardcore into a rebuild versus what we saw in last year's offseason. So, yeah, let's take a look here. A little thin on defense there. They don't have too much in the way there. They also acquired Petr Mrazek from the Toronto Maple Leafs, and certainly they gained assets for that as well. And I think that was one of their better moves, actually, in the offseason. So they'll have him for 2 years, at least under cap. That's the way things are looking. We'll see if they actually trade Jonathan Toews or Patrick Kane. Toews would be a hard one to move. $10.5 million cap hit. I could actually see him maybe retiring, even mid-season for that matter. Kane, yeah, there are some rumblings that there will be teams that are inquiring about him as well. All right, how are we doing so far, guys? Oh, wow. 18 votes. Okay. Whoa, this is pretty quick. This is pretty crazy already. All right, any final votes here, everybody? Give it like 10 or 15 seconds. Yeah. Well, you know, the Hawks, this is tearing things down entirely. They should have done this a couple of years ago. So, remember, the night is always darkest before the dawn. Vinny confidently says F. Yeah, they're just playing for the future. And we'll see, guys. Maybe they get the first overall pick next year. Okay, we got 19 votes. I'll actually close that out. Not everybody said that they would be D or F tier. But for the Hawks, we've got 73, 15, 10, 0. Okay, 73, 15, 10, and 0. So I'm going to stick them... I mean, there is a pretty big gap between them and the Sabres, so we will factor that as we kind of shift things around, especially toward the end of our live stream. Okay. Now we go from two teams that were nowhere near the playoffs to a team that did okay in the playoffs in the Colorado Avalanche. A, B, C, and D/F. All right, guys. What do you think of the Avalanche in this offseason? So, Kadri isn't officially gone. Okay, they do have about $4 million in cap space. And for the Avalanche, it was inevitable that they would lose a couple of their decent players from this Stanley Cup run. So they lose Andrei Burakovsky, who really wasn't a factor in the playoffs. He signs in Seattle. But they keep Valeri Nichushkin. He gets absolutely paid, but was terrific for them in the postseason. Same thing with Artturi Lehkonen. That was a great deal for him to sign as well. The defense stays intact. They keep Josh Manson. They lose a couple pieces down low, right? They lose Nico Sturm. They lose Nick Aube-Kubel. But they keep Darren Helm, who I thought was terrific in the playoffs. And they also keep Cogliano, who, despite not playing much in the Stanley Cup, he was some good energy for them in the bottom six as well. Not to mention they lose Darcy Kemper. They trade for Alex Georgiev, so it's going to be Francouz, who maybe was the better of the two goaltenders in the playoffs, and now Alex Georgiev. So what are your thoughts, guys? 24 votes. Excellent. Cool. I think that I'll give you 15 more seconds just in case there's a trailer here, and then we'll close that out. All right. I think we're done for this one. So technically the Avs get in the B tier, but again, this is going to be ranked in terms of relativity as well, grading on a curve. So, all right, let's look at the Avs. So they are at 30, so 50%, oh, excuse me, I did this incorrectly. 8, 37, 50, 8, 4, 37, 50, or 50, 37, excuse me, 50, 37. Okay, so the Avs are going to go into the B tier. All right. All right, next up, everybody. Oh, boy. Yeah, this is going to be another of the more interesting teams to sort out here. Okay, D/F. Okay, the next team are the Boston Bruins. So for the Bruins, I think probably their biggest acquisition in the offseason has been Pavel Zacha from the Devils. And they trade Eric Howla, who did a fairly good job for them last year, despite being maybe more of a third-line player or second-line winger. Now for the Bruins, they still haven't officially signed Krejci or Bergeron. I imagine that Bergeron could likely come back probably for maybe not the whole year entirely. They have the same goaltending tandem that was pretty good for them last year in Ullmark and Swayman. Defensively, they're pretty much the same team from last year, which isn't a bad thing, but Charlie McAvoy and Grzelcyk will be injured to start things out. Forward group, again, missing Bergeron here. So what do you guys think so far? We are ranking their moves. Yes, this is how they performed in the offseason with trades, free agency, and also, guys, you can also factor in coaching too. So Bruce Cassidy got fired, and in comes Jim Montgomery, who last coached for the Dallas Stars a couple years back. He actually was their head coach when they went to the Stanley Cup final. So let's not forget about that as well. The Bruins ruined it. I think that they could be due for a decline, especially if they don't have Bergeron and Krejci in the lineup. We'll see what happens if those trade talks for Pasta pick up at any point. You think that Bergeron probably plays this year and then hangs it up? I got 23 votes. Let's see. I'll give you about 15 more seconds here. Considering the draft, Wild fan, you know what? You can consider the draft if you want. I personally don't follow the draft all that closely to where I can really weigh in. But yeah, you can also consider that as well in terms of like building for the future. But I would say that that should be a lot smaller in comparison versus free agency and trades. All right, so I think that we've reached the end of this one. And the Bruins look to be in the C tier. All right, so what was that at? Leonidas. Yeah, that's true. It's good that even though you have McAvoy out, you still have Lindholm back there. Okay, so what was that? 12, 70, 16. So in this case, they would go into the C tier. And would they be? Yeah, they would not be as bad as. Yeah, they would be right here essentially. Although Buffalo, it was 41-35 for them. Interesting. Okay, well, I'll look at this later on too. I don't want to hold things up here. Then you're worrying for the Minnesota Wild. Yeah, I mean, I would say the same, to be honest. And I like the Wild too, but yeah, not a huge fan of. I mean, granted, of course, those buyouts from the season prior are going to absolutely sting. Anywho, let's go to the Dallas Stars. So this is another team who changed coaches. Peter DeBoer comes in for Rick Bowness. So that is one key facet when evaluating this team's performance in the offseason. Really, for the Stars, I think their biggest move might be bringing in Mason Marchment, who had a great year with the Panthers. I mean, he didn't play the whole season, but I think he had like 47 points in 54 games. So can he find a way to fit in on maybe a second line for the Stars? Is that going to be enough depth scoring? So they bring him in. They lose Vlad Nemesnikov, who actually was a pretty good pickup for them, I think. Defense looks pretty similar. They bring in Colin Miller. He hasn't really had a big season since when he played for the Knights that first year. And the goaltending, they extended Scott Wedgwood to play with Jake Ottinger. They still have to sign Otter. Let's just assume that Ottinger will be signed before the season starts. Bonus be gone. Well, a lot of people aren't DeBoer fans, but remember, guys, DeBoer in his first year with the team does amazing. He was actually pretty good with the Panthers his first year. First year with the Devils, they went to the Cup final. First year with the Sharks, they went to the Cup final. First year with the Knights, they went to the Conference final. Dan. The green ones, right? All right, how are we doing on votes here? We got 26 people here. 16 votes, guys. Let's see if we can get it up to 20. They still need to re-sign Robertson and Otter. Oh, they lost Klingberg. Thank you for pointing that out. And yeah, guys, feel free to shout out the moves in the chat as well. I would assume that they hold on to Robertson and Ottinger. And I'll say that for most of the RFAs out there. For teams that actually have the cap to sign. So right now, I don't know how many Dallas still has, I think, I think I just pulled it up here. Dallas still has over $10 million left for Robertson and for Ottinger. I think they can make it work. You know, they don't have to be under the cap heading into training camp. All right, let's see. We got 18 votes. We got 29 people here. Can we get to 20 votes, guys? So the Avs were 50-37, so they had big-time support for that tier. All right, well, for the time being, just to move things along, I'm going to close this out. So we're looking at here, let's take a look at this. 22, 33, 44. That's easy. All right. 22, 33, 44. And that's the Stars, Dallas. Okay. So the Stars go into the B tier, but not ahead of the Avalanche, because the Avalanche actually had pretty good support for the A tier. Ooh. Oh, thank you, Samantha. I appreciate that. Oh, this one's going to be really interesting. Okay, even more fortification for the B tier. All right. This next one. I want to know what you guys think. Because I do have my own thoughts about this, but this ain't about me. We're going to talk about the Florida Panthers. Don't forget that Paul Maurice is now the head coach in relief of Andrew Brunette. Of course, the biggest of their moves was trading away Jonathan Huberdeau, Mackenzie Weegar, a prospect and like a first-round draft pick, and change, to the Calgary Flames. And in comes Matthew Tkachuk. He signs an 8-year deal, I think at $9.5 million annually. They also lost Mason Marchment. That's the biggest piece that they lost. Rudolph Balcers and Chris Tierney come into the bottom 6 for this team. Anthony Duclair is going to be injured to start the season for quite some time. But yeah, their defense looks like this. They got Ekblad, Brandon Montour, Gustav Forsling, a fantastic shutdown defenseman, maybe a top 10 shutdown defenseman in the NHL. Lucas Carlson, Mark Stahl, Radko Gudas. You think that you would say the Flames won the Tkachuk trade. At least initially, right? They got the best player. But in terms of what this could mean for the Panthers long term, actually their cap situation going into next year looks pretty good. So they can still bolster their roster a little bit more after this next season. So I think that right now, yeah, it favors Calgary. But for the Panthers, it could actually be okay in the near future. All right. I got 30 people here. I think we can get over 25 votes here, guys. Keep them coming. Yeah, Bill. That was a really smart move by Pat Verbeek. I've really been a fan of his moves ever since he took over. Florida won until Calgary signs them. Yeah, that's a fair point as well. You could see them having a slow start. Yeah, a lot of personnel gone from last year. This one's interesting, guys. All right, so we got 19 votes. Let's get it over 20, guys. What did I do today? I worked on the video that I'm releasing tomorrow on the biggest burning question facing every NHL team heading into this upcoming season. Oh, wow. We've got actually a tie here. Huberdeau's going to leave at the trade deadline. You mean he's going to get to Calgary and ask for a trade? Or watch, he plays the full season, right? And then he signs back in Florida. That would be incredible. Because, again, the Panthers could maybe afford one more contract like that. Huberdeau is going to be like 30 years old or 31. But if they can sign him for like 4 years at $10 million, they might be able to pull that off. They might. All right, we got 20. Oh, man. This one's, I have to actually, C tier at the last minute. Okay, we got 35 people. We want all the votes we can get, everybody. All right, I'm closing this in 10 seconds. All right, well, it is a dead even draw, but because there is more support in the A tier versus D than F, this would actually push the Panthers at the very, very end of the B tier. So, let's see here. 13, 31, 31, 20. Okay, 13, 31, 31, 22. Okay. So the Panthers are going into the B tier, but at the very end. All right. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. Y'all make sure you smash that like button. Give it a little skadoosh. And when you do that, the algorithm will actually push our streams and push my content out to more fantastic hockey fans like yourselves. All right, next team, the Ducks. Man, the Ducks are going to scare the NHL in like 2 years. They're going to be incredibly good, man. I mean, Verbeek has so much cap space to play with still. So, of course, the Ducks brought in John Klingberg on a 1-year deal. He also signed Frank Vatrano and Ryan Strome, both formerly with the Rangers. Vatrano also playing last year with the Florida Panthers. Now, Ryan Getzlaf, he retired before the season actually ended there. The lineup looks pretty similar, I think, to last season otherwise. So think about that, right? Vatrano, Strome, and also John Klingberg. I don't think they pulled off any big trades this during the offseason. I don't think they have. I'm going to check cap friendly here, though. Yeah, no trades to report. Thank you, Wild fan. Hey, you looking forward to the Vikings this upcoming year? Because even though I'm a Sharks fan for hockey, I do bleed purple for football. So there we go. Klingberg would be gone after the 1 year. I mean, the best thing the Ducks could do is trade him and get like a first-round draft pick for this killer draft that we're going to have in upcoming years. Is there a way to change your vote? Not on here, unfortunately. Maybe one day we'll try this on a different platform or whatever, but not here, unfortunately. Wow, that is a remarkably eventful day, Samantha. You're a very crafty person, aren't you? Now, remember, the Ducks were actually pretty good last year to start things out. They did trade some players away, though, at the deadline, so that's why they kind of tailed off at the end. Yeah, Skull, that's what I like to hear. All right, how are we doing on our poll so far, guys? 16 votes. Can we get over 20, everybody? Over 20. An NHL 22 stream. I don't play video games anymore, so doesn't mean I wouldn't consider it at some point, but it's just really something that I don't make time for. But I had streams a couple of years ago. It was like, I let the subscribers actually play me in NHL. Panthers fan, what's going on? 19 votes. Let's get at least one more. I'm going to give you guys 15 seconds here. In the meantime, you can just watch Cortana. Good girl. Yes. What is in my glass? This is actually, it's not like a specific type of spirit, but it is fermented with honey. It's not like honey's added just to sweeten it. There is a little bit of that through the fermentation process, but this is actually distilled very locally to me here, just about 8 miles away. All right, let's rock. So this is going to close things out, and people like the Ducks for the most part here. So what are we, 13... What is that? That's 5:31, 26, or 5:21, 36, 26. Okay, 5:21, 36, 26. So the Ducks are very comfortable in the B tier. And did they perform better than the Dallas Stars? Yeah, they did, actually. Did they perform better than the Avalanche? Not quite. So the Ducks get a pretty favorable grade. And they come into the B tier, and that will leave us. Alex, how you doing? How are you now? All right, this will bring us to our next grade here. The Ottawa Senators, King Tone, or Tony, or Tone. All right, here we go. The Sens are the next team, and certainly a very eventful offseason for them, as they have come out of a rebuild and now are gunning for maybe a playoff spot this upcoming season as the Atlantic Division starts to kind of turn like an hourglass. So, first things first, they trade for DeBrincat on draft day, and really, I thought this was quite a steal. Then they ink Claude Giroux for, 3 or 4 years? 3 years at $6.5 million annually. Those are the big moves for them. Any big defensive moves here? Not so much. They're going to pretty much stick with their core. Ottawa was 22nd on defense last year. They also traded for Cam Talbot, who had a good season with the Minnesota Wild, especially as things progressed. And Anton Forsberg, I believe, was serviceable for this past season as well. Pardon the burp there. All right, 13 votes so far. Let's see if we can get close to 20 here, everybody. 24, all right, cool. Yeah, but of course, Leonidas, right? You can't just assume that everything's going to click instantly for a team that has that personnel shift, especially with somebody like DeBrincat or even Giroux. They're going to get, top 6 minutes. Sanderson coming up, yep, absolutely. We'll probably see a little bit more of Shane Pinto, I would think, as well. But yeah, I don't really follow Ottawa that much, but I think this year things are definitely going to change. When did Ottawa get good? Hey, do we start to see the Ottawa Senators from 20 years ago, right? When they had Heatley, Alfredson, Spezza, Radek Bonk, right? This team is going to light the lamp quite a bit this upcoming year. 17 votes. Can we get 20? Do I hear 20? And then we'll have the Winnipeg Jets after this. Easy A. I mean, they didn't do anything wrong, that's for sure. Especially for what the price was on DeBrincat. Okay, I'm going to close this out because this is pretty convincing. 10 seconds, actually, we'll give you 10 seconds. Marco Rossi for the Calder. Interesting. We'll see if he gets enough of an opportunity, though, with a team that's pretty stacked at forward, although they did lose Kevin Fiala. All right, let's close it out. So what is the final tally here? 5-5, 32, 58. All right, guys, we have our first A tier on the evening. The Ottawa Senators. Pierre Dorion, man. Remember, guys, when the Erik Karlsson trade went down and everybody was like, fleece. And, man, it was the Sharks who eventually got fleeced from that deal. All right. Jets are coming up, everybody. The Jets also have a new head coach. It is Rick Bowness, formerly of the Dallas Stars. How do I make a poll? Oh, with my live streams, there's a built-in option, so it's not like a third party or anything like that. All right, guys, what do you think of the Jets? They extended Pierre-Luc Dubois, but just for 1 year, albeit at a very team-friendly deal. I think it was like $6 million. Really looking at this roster, they still have to sign Mason Appleton. I hope that they can do that because Appleton's a fairly good third-line player, and I do think they have some cap space. They still have $8 million left, $8.5 million. David Riddick also came over from the Predators, although he had a pretty bad season, I have to say. And other than that, Winnipeg has looked pretty similar versus their roster last year, at least in my opinion. Zach Sanford, they also acquired him. Oh, that was at the trade deadline this past season. So yeah, Winnipeg didn't really do all that much, honestly. Maybe they just kind of feel it out to see. Okay, Junie, I see you there, man. Just please don't spam, okay? All right, guys. We're at 16 votes. Let's see if we can get over 20. That would be magnificent. We are 9 teams through. We're on our 10th team here. And how are we on actual timing? 6:40 already. Wow. This one's going to go late. But That's perfectly acceptable because we have all of our wonderful fans here, at least the fantastic core audience of Twisters. All right, 20 votes. I'm going to close this in 10 seconds, so cast your vote if you haven't already. Oh, hey, CJ. How are you now? You looking forward to the NFL season? We're about a month away from that kicking off. Wheeler's older. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be talking about the Jets to lead off tomorrow's video, actually. So that is an interesting topic indeed. Oh, good. Okay, let's close this one out. Wow, a fair amount actually have the Jets in the B tier. I gotta respect that, although some people put them in the D and the F, so you gotta be extra careful if you're gonna. Never mind. Zane, hey, thanks for joining us. Okay, so the Jets 26, 34, 39. 39 and 0. Okay, so where does this put them? Now, the biggest support was actually in the B tier, but were they better than Florida? Actually, no. A fair amount of you liked Florida quite a bit. I don't know. I'm going to make a little bit of a judgment call here and put the Jets at the end of the B tier. Okay, Devils are coming up next. Islanders get an A. Hey, you don't have Kadri yet officially. Not to mention, don't you have to like re-sign Dobson? But you have the cap space. You have what? What is that now? About $11 million in cap space. Okay. Anyway, let's focus our attention to the Devils. Pretty busy offseason for them. And speaking of which, I am rocking my New Jersey Devils bench clearers tank. Wicked comfortable. Yeah, Junie. I love that beanie myself. All right, so let's look at the Devils here. Man, I don't even know where to start with these guys. So they bring in Andre Palat from the Tampa Bay Lightning. He had a monster postseason for them. You know, a guy who can produce you about 50 points at least. Jesper Bratt, they just extended him for another year, so he stays on the roster. No problems with that. They get Eric Howla from the Bruins. They send Pavel Zacha over to Boston. They lose Yannick Hokonen, a guy who had a pretty good year about 2 years ago, I want to say. Don't think they're going to retain Miles Wood. They bring in John Marino from the Pittsburgh Penguins. They extend Jonas Siegenthaler. Really like that move. They also get Brendan Smith. And in the draft, they have a couple of big picks, including Simon Nemec joining the team there. And they also bring in Vitek Vanacek as a kind of 1B option for Mackenzie Blackwood. So plenty of moves in the offseason for the Devils. And they had a pretty busy offseason last year as well, but those moves haven't panned out just yet. They also bring in Andrew Burnett as an associate head coach. So what do you guys think of the New Jersey Devils going forward? When did I start collecting jerseys? Good question. What was that, about 4.5 years ago? Speaking of which, guys, I'm going to be actually selling a lot of my Reebok jerseys, and I'll be selling them at pretty affordable prices. So I'll put out a video or a post about this. So if you want to buy a jersey for like $50, more or less, then I can hook you up with that. And a lot of my jerseys actually have numbers on them as well. I just want to strip things down a little bit and make way for the reverse retros. Even if you want to buy a jersey from me, I could even sign it if you would like. You don't see Subban coming back? Yeah, I would say he probably doesn't return either. Does Hischier have another level? You know, I don't want to BS you. I don't really watch the Devils all that much, so I can't say that he does. I would say probably he's not going to top off, or he's not going to top out more than he kind of is already. Dawson Mercer, yeah, I think that he kind of got overshadowed in the Calder conversation. But yeah, more to come on those jerseys that I talked about. I just have to kind of just doctor up a couple of stains, like mustard stains and all that stuff. But they're overall in pretty good condition. Some of them are vintage and were worn by other people before me, but I have put them through the wash. Anyway, enough of that. Where are we with the New Jersey Devils, everybody? We've got 25 votes. Excellent. All right, 15 more seconds. Cast your vote if you haven't already, and we'll close things out in just a moment. Putting the Sens where they belong. Yeah, fantastic offseason. I mean, versus all the other teams here, it's hard to complain. I think the Avalanche have had a good offseason. The Ducks have had a great offseason as well. But yeah, I think Ottawa kind of does stand head and shoulders above these other teams, at least so far. Will Jack Hughes be a superstar? I think so. I haven't seen enough of him. Again, the Devils, you'll see that with me, I do usually watch teams that are in the playoff conversation. And so I'm watching them even if they play a team like New Jersey or a team like Buffalo. But that will start to change a little bit this upcoming season. But yeah, Jack Hughes he is pretty electric out there. All right, here we go. You had a Patrick Waugh jersey that was stolen. I am so sorry to hear that. I'm still trying to find where the hell my Kraken home jersey went. So I'm going to order another one of those. All right. So what do we got? 325. This is an interesting one. 325, 57. 57. And we have 14 for the A tier. So now comparing them against the Avalanche, did they perform better? No, the Avalanche are still the best team that we have in the B tier. How did they stack up against Anaheim? Anaheim got 26% there, so I think that they're going to be a little bit behind the Ducks. Did the Devils perform better than the Dallas Stars? And looking at my chart here, yes, they did. So we've got a very comfortable groove here for the Devils. They're going to go right in the middle of our B tier. Will they be a playoff team? Yeah, I mean, I have to dissect this further. Don't forget Columbus, though, man. Don't forget the Jackets. All right, the next team, the Montreal Canadiens. You think the Jets should move down to the C tier? Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance that we'll bump them down. Because I will adjust this a little bit toward the end of things. All right, everybody, here we go. The Montreal Canadiens, or as we call them, the Habs. So, of course, they got Juraj Slafkovsky first overall in the draft. A lot of moves for the Montreal Canadiens, right? They traded away Jeff Petrie and Ryan Poehling for Mike Matheson, and they got a 4th-round draft pick as well. They traded for Kirby Dach in exchange for a 1st and a 3rd. They sent away Alexander Romanov to the Islanders, and they got a 1st-round draft pick out of that. That was a really good play from them. They also acquired Yevgeny Dadonov. Looks like they extended Rem Pitlick. That was an RFA that was pending. So yeah, I think Kirby Dach is one of the big moves, sending Romanov away. Getting Petrie off the books as well for Matheson. With DeBrincat, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, after this, I got some poke to look forward to. I love poke. It's fantastic. Yeah, and of course you got, and don't forget they also retained Martin St. Louis as their head coach. So you can factor that in. You can factor in the draft as well. Got 14 votes. Can we get over 20 guys? We got something clicking near the end. Yeah, for the most part. I think that it was good to keep St. Louis. If he can reach the young players, that's what matters most, right? The Caps didn't make any moves. Actually, the Caps made a few. They got Connor Brown and they got Dylan Strome, which is really important because Nicholas Backstrom is going to likely be out for a good amount of this next season. Plus, Darcy Kemper could be an upgrade over Vitek Vanacek or Ilya Samsonov. So yeah, it was actually a pretty busy offseason for the Caps. But even so, will that be enough? Because the Metro, you got New Jersey, you got Columbus coming up. The Islanders could be due for a bounce back as well. All right, I'm going to close this out in about 10 seconds, guys, so cast your vote if you haven't already. Was Martin St. Louis drafted? No, he was not. All right, we're going to close the poll. 11, 11, 44, 33 looks to be the results. Okay, so that's a very comfortable beat here for the Canadiens. So let's see here. When grading the Canadiens, actually, that's a pretty good representation. So 44-33 between B tier and A tier. Is that better than the Devils? Yes, it is. Is that better than the Ducks? Let's see. Yeah, actually, it is. Is that better than the Colorado Avalanche? 50 and 37, so no. But nonetheless, the Habs do get a pretty good rating for their offseason so far. Actually, we'll put them just ahead of the Anaheim Ducks. All right, next team are going to be the Seattle Kraken. And one thing that I really am keen to follow with Seattle this year is their goaltending, because it was atrocious last year. But they actually hired a new goaltending coach for this upcoming season, and Philip Grubauer is now just 2 years removed from a Vezina Trophy finalist nomination. So let's see what you guys think of Seattle here. I mean, they're already looking very different than their first year in terms of their roster makeup. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to check to see if Seattle had any big trades. Oliver Bjorkstrand from the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for a 2023 third and a fourth. That was probably their biggest one there. Oliver Bjorkstrand joins their team in addition to Andrei Burakovsky, who had a career year with the Avalanche despite being quiet in the playoffs. They also brought back Ryan Donato, who can add you some depth scoring in a third or fourth line role. Extended Morgan Geekie. They got Justin Schultz from the Washington Capitals as well. And Martin Jones will be a third string goaltender eventually, but he'll be the backup to Grubauer as Chris Driedger is still, sitting out with an injury. Did the Habs get Lane Hudson? Oh, I can't recall. Oh, Keenan, how's it going, man? Make sure if you're enjoying this stream, please do show your support with a thumbs up. And if you've cast your vote and you're waiting for something to do, you can always follow me on social media. As you can see in my lower third, or my upper third in this case, I'm on Twitter and on Instagram. And again, guys, we do accept super chats if you want to show your support for the channel that way. Because ad revenue is not exactly that great in the off season, let's just say that. All right, 20 votes. Let's close this out in about 20 seconds, guys. So cast your vote if you haven't already. Cortana is a little bit tired. Lots of Frisbee earlier today. Yeah, Beniers had 9 points in the last 10 games. Exactly. Plus, they also drafted Shane Wright, guys. Let's not put that past us, huh? The new Vancouver Canucks reverse retro jersey. If you haven't already, Gonzalo, check out my live stream with Brendan from BW Hockey. We kicked it off by talking about that jersey. But overall, I like it. It's not my favorite, and I probably wouldn't buy it. I like the Abbotsford Canucks with that Johnny Canuck, but I still like it. Hey, Salty, how you doing? All right, let's close this out. Now, this one's really interesting because we have a big percentage in the C tier, but we have an even bigger percentage in the A tier. So, this one is fairly unique. We've got ourselves, 0, 38, 14, and 47% of votes have the Kraken in the A tier. So I am going to put the Kraken up in the top tier, but not quite as good as the Ottawa Senators. Okay. Alrighty. Next team here are the Pittsburgh Penguins. Of course, the Penguins had a ton of free agents heading into this offseason, and they really did actually keep a lot of them. They extended Malkin, they extended Letang. I think Rust might have been, I don't know if he was in the offseason or before the season ended, but Rust was another contract that was up at some point. They retained Raquel, they retained Kapanen, they retained Danton Heinen, who had 19 goals for them this last year, at just $1 million. They also bring in Josh Archibald on a one-year deal from the Oilers. They also traded away Mike Matheson. In comes Jeff Petrie and also Ryan Poehling. They get Jan Ruta from the Tampa Bay Lightning. They traded away John Marino, but they got Ty Smith, who had a really good rookie year but regressed this previous season. And both of their goaltenders are also back, Jari and DeSmith. DeSmith, I think, was extended in the offseason. So pretty busy for the Penguins, but they kept most of the band together and made some tunings around that as well. So yeah, what do you guys think, huh? And I think I got a Instagram follow, so thank you guys so much. Pens are reminding you of the Red Wings. Yeah, I think that they're saying we could even do this for another couple of years. But Crosby had a great year last year, and Malkin was pretty good too. So who knows? Pittsburgh can stay healthy. That team, I don't think they can win the division, but I think they could still very comfortably finish third. All right, guys, we got 18 votes. Can we get over 20 or 25? Come on. Thank you, Samantha. I appreciate that. All right, let's give it about 15 more seconds, guys. Guys and gals. Ooh, this one's tough. They're old but poised. Yeah, I think that's perfectly succinct. Yeah, 42 and 42 for Gino. I mean, if he's healthy, but then again, I guess at this point we have to expect that he'll miss a little bit of time. All right, guys, I'm going to close this out. Looks like we're kind of at a standstill here. So again, we have the same for B and C. Thank you, Junie. I appreciate that. All right, 11, 33, 33, 22. All right, so I'm actually going to do something now because we're not quite at the halfway point. We're getting close. But Pittsburgh is basically in the same spot as Winnipeg, where we had the same percentages, I believe. Yeah, we had the same percentages for B tier and C tier, but because because the A tier outweighed the D tier, we slid these two teams into that tier. But I'm going to say this, guys. We want to make sure that we have a fairly good representation between all of our tiers. So I'm actually going to drop I'm going to start with this. I'm going to drop the Penguins and the Jets into the C tier. But again, if we find ourselves really stacking the C tier as the stream goes, then we could possibly bump those teams up to the B tier. So again, when do I turn 35? That's a secret. Who knows? I could have already turned 35. All right. Yeah, Victoria, how are you now? All right, next team. Let's see here. Let's go with this. So we got ourselves the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm sorry, I can't help but chuckle with these guys. Now, whilst y'all are casting your votes, I'm going to use the loo, okay? Lots of liquids I consume. All right. So with the Flyers, think about the Tony DeAngelo signing. They lose Oscar Lindblom. That was probably their biggest piece. They have a couple of guys who are going to start the season. Farabee and Ellis are going to start on injury reserve. So cast your vote. I'll be right back. I'm just going to run to the head, smash like, all that good stuff. I'll be right back. Okay. Where do we have Philly? Oh, big surprise, huh? How often does Cortana go to the vet? Usually she's in there maybe every 3 months or so, 4 months. You know, because she has to get vaccinations and gets checkups. We had her, they sedated and cleaned her teeth and removed some cysts at the end of June. Okay, so Philly, 15 votes. Come on, everybody, keep them coming. That's all right. I think that we already know where Philly's going to go here. So Philly, but the question is Philly worse off than Chicago in this offseason? Oh, it's going to be close. 69, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, King. Right, you are. Oh boy, that's my fault. Here we go. Philadelphia. We're going to close this out. We got 16 votes, but I think we can end this one. All right. So we've got what was that? 68, 18, 6-6. 68, 18, 6, and 6. So obviously that's pretty damn bad, but it's actually not as bad as the Chicago Blackhawks. Oh, God, another team who had a... Oh, wait, sorry. We'll put them behind Buffalo. All right, another team who had a bad offseason. At least in my opinion, with my bias, right, guys? You see the ink. It's the San Jose Sharks. So, big changes, not just in person, not so much in personnel, let's say, but really with the front office. Mike Greer comes in as the general manager. They shake up the coaching staff entirely. Signing or bringing in David Quinn, previously from the Rangers, but Ryan Warsofsky, who won the Calder Cup with the Chicago Wolves, is now an assistant coach. So I am excited about that. Luke Kunin comes in, kind of one of their bigger signings in free agency. They bring in a lot of other guys too, like Matt Benning, who analytically actually is a pretty good defenseman. Then you also have, of course, Brent Burns being traded away. But the Sharks retain some of that salary cap. So kind of mixed results with that. Oscar Lindblom comes in to play a second or third line role with them. They still have to sign Mario Ferraro and Noah Gregor. They also bring in Nico Sturm from the Avalanche to play maybe a fourth-line center role. And they bring in a lot of goaltenders, although Kakkonen and Reimer are going to be the two, I think, for this upcoming season. But guys, you know I'm a Sharks fan. Yo, I don't care. Give me your honest, your brutally honest opinion of this team in the offseason. All right, Victoria. Well, should I say happy early birthday to you? Your birthday gift is the Red Wings sign Nazem Kadri. I don't know. How do I feel about Burns? Yeah, I wish we could have gotten more in return, but I think Greer just wanted to get that contract off the books for the next couple of seasons, even though they will retain a little bit of salary. It was a move that was necessary, and I think could it have been done better? Probably, but with everything that Greer did in the offseason, he took care of the Burns thing right away. So I think that overall it's okay. Obviously, they lose a guy who's going to eat up a ton of ice time for them, and still has plenty of offensive upside. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm just really happy he went to Carolina, and hopefully he works out really well playing with Slavin. So anyway, okay, so we got 17 votes. We got 27 people here. Can we get to 20 votes? Let's close this out in about 15 seconds. Cortanis is C tier. Look at her right now. Look at this goofball. Would I rather have lost Carlson? Oh, easily. Yeah, absolutely. But he has a no-move clause and gets paid a lot more and has 5 years left on his deal. Burns only had 3. There was no way in hell that they would be able to get Carlson off the books. Eklund will be a beast. I hope so. Him and Bordalo playing together in the future. Let's hope so. Maybe I'll do a live stream on your birthday. If it's a week from now, like live streams in the off season, we'll probably do them Wednesdays. Okay, let's close this out. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna stick the Sharks in the D tier here because they actually didn't perform as well as Buffalo, who's at the very head of that class. So Sharks 42. 10 and 5. Now, if I were to rank them, I'd probably put them at the very end of the C tier. But with Greer, I'm happy to be patient and wait and see what happens. He's really tearing things down as best as he can. Because, yeah, he really walked into an ish storm, if you will. All right. Kid Inc., how we doing? Thanks for hopping in here. It's on a Friday? Okay. Well, happy early birthday. I think that's fair enough. It's on Friday. Cool. Carlson I don't want to talk about Carlson. I'll wake up with a hangover. All right, next team is the team that Burns got traded to, and that is the Carolina Hurricanes. My favorite team after the Sharks now. All right, so, but I mean, it was a busy offseason for Carolina. They still have to extend Martin Necas and figure out where he's going to fit into the lineup. So where do you guys have the Carolina Hurricanes? Of course, they got Brent Burns. They also got Max Pacioretty for nothing, so you could credit them for that. And Dylan Coghlan for some depth defense. Extended Ethan Bear, who adds some depth to the defense as well. They lost Steven Lorentz, who was playing a fourth-line role for them. They lost Vincent Trocheck. That's the big one, guys. Their 2C, Vincent Trocheck, who was maybe their best forward in the playoffs. He's gone. He's in New York now. They also brought in Andre Kasha. That was a really good signing. Just $1.5 million for someone who, like on the analytics side last year as a third liner, he was probably one of the best in the NHL. He was fantastic. And does have some 20-goal upside if you need to elevate him in the lineup. Although they are pretty stacked at the wings. Best team in the league? I wouldn't go so far to say that. But yeah, they are a well-composed team. And I'm going to be really, really cheering for them quite a bit this next year. Flats or drums? Probably drums, actually. I'm not a big wings person, honestly. All right, where are we at with Carolina? Yeah, Nate just did have kind of a down year. I don't really know exactly what goes into these the JFresh advanced stats computations, but yeah, his card was not particularly good either. Mr. Frog. Not Clyde Frog. Okay, so how are we doing on votes so far? 18 votes. Can we get over 20, guys? Hey, Cortana. Hi. Just close up of Cortana, everybody. Hi. How we doing, kiddo? When am I going to be done? It's going to take a little while. We have a few more teams left here. The Trocheck contract might not age well. That's fair. I still think that it's a pretty good value to start, though. Let's get all eyes on Cortana. Yeah, what a good girl. All right, so we're going to close this out because I do want to keep things moving along here. Oh, alrighty. Code, can you hear me? Yeah, Leonidas, that is literally the burning question I have for the Hurricanes this upcoming season. It's that 2C spot. All right, let's close this out. Carolina is going to go to the A tier. Zero, 21, 21, and 57% for the Hurricanes. That's pretty damn good. Now, did they perform better than Seattle? No, or yeah, they did. They did because Seattle had a lot more in the C tier. I think that would force them there. Yeah. Did they perform better than Ottawa? No. Ottawa is still. Oh wow, that's pretty close. But yeah, Ottawa is still king of the offseason so far. But the Kraken the Hurricanes are still gonna get plenty of love. All right, here we go. Next one. And that's going to be the Oilers. Now remember, they have retained Jay Woodcroft as their head coach. The biggest changes for the Oilers are in goal. Smith is going to be on IR this next year. Stuart Skinner is going to be the backup. Koskinen is playing in Europe now. So, Jack Campbell has been signed to a fairly long-term deal for Edmonton. They also retained Evander Kane on a 4-year deal at $5 million annually. They got Kyler Yamamoto extended $3 million for 2 seasons. Puljujärvi extended for another year at $3 million. They bring in Matthias Janmark, previously with the Golden Knights. Please sign Ryan McLeod, though, guys. Ryan McLeod has lots of defensive skill. I like him quite a bit. Defense for them looks pretty similar as well. They extended Kulak, which was great because he's not even $3 million per season for 4 years and is their best defender. He's great, I think. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Give me a throw down for Brandon in the chat. What's Cortana doing here, guys? Yeah, I really do appreciate that super chat, though. 13 votes. We've got 24 people here. I think we can get close to 20. Shoot, is my DoorDash here? I'm getting hungry, man. Give it about 15 seconds. Cast your vote, guys. Here, you know what? Cortana needs some treats, doesn't she? Yeah, I think she needs some treats. Stay here, girl. I got you. All right, who's a good girl? Whoop. There you go. Whoop. There we go. All right, here you go. Now you get like 4 at once. Yeah, a little bit of a curveball, Cortana. All right. Okay. Let's close it out. And let's see here. 6, 18, 50, 25. So the Oilers are going into the B tier. Are they better than Dallas? Yes, they are. Are they better than the Devils? Let's see here. Yeah, actually, they are... Ooh, that's pretty neck and neck, to be honest with you. Oilers or Devils? I'm going to say... I'll put the Oilers right here, actually. All right. All right, next up, we've got ourselves... the Calgary Flames. What an interesting team that is to discuss. I think we'll get votes all over the place for these guys. All right, guys, where do we have the Calgary Flames? I mean, obviously we're going to talk about the loss of Gaudreau and Tkachuk, gaining, of course, Mackenzie Weegar, and also Jonathan Huberdeau, who was... I can't remember if he was a Hart finalist, but he had a Hart finalist kind of season. So those are the big moves. They lost Yarncroke, who was, not really a factor after he was acquired during the trade deadline. They also recently extended Andrew Mangiapane and Oliver Shillington, both at very good deals to keep underneath the cap, so they could even bring more depth into their lineup, which I think they need. If they can get like Evan Rodriguez, that would be incredible. Brandon says B. Yeah, I think that B would probably be pretty... Oh, wow. We changed up our look, didn't we, buddy? Let me take care of this, guys. Oh, thank you, CJ. They might have the best defense. I think that with Weegar, with how he's able to activate offensively in that Sutter defense, I think that's going to be awesome for him. All right, where do we have the Flames? 24 people here. We got 14 votes. Come on, guys. Get your votes in. What other moves did they make? Kevin Rooney comes over from the Rangers. But yeah, I think we pretty much recapped the big ones. All right, I'm going to close this out in 15 seconds, guys. I hope so, Junie. Before the season starts, I will talk about a membership for the channel. For people who contribute financially, they will receive exclusive content. But that's the plan for this upcoming year. Good girl. And who knows, that could be exclusive Cortana content too. But I can't make that happen unless everybody buys me a sandwich and a soda. And there's more on that later. Okay, here we go. We got 19 votes. I'm going to close this out. And yeah, it was interesting, right? Some people thought that this was a great offseason for the Flames. Some people thought that maybe they might regret that trade. But at the end of the day, I pretty much agree with you guys. I think that the Flames did a good job in the offseason. They're still thin at forward in the bottom 6, though. Like I said, they got a little bit of cap space. If they could bring in somebody like Evan Rodriguez, that would be killer for them. All right, so anyway, the Calgary Flames, what are the percentages here? 5, 31, 42, what was that? 5, 31, 42, and 21. So they're going to go in the B tier. Were they better than the Florida Panthers? Yes. Were they better than the Dallas Stars? I will say yes. Yes, absolutely. They were better than the Stars. Better than the Oilers? No. The Oilers were the better team. So Calgary goes into the B tier, and I'm going to actually slide Florida down now into the C tier as a result of that. All right. Oh, Junie, it's a figure of speech, but yes, I will share more about this later. But basically, I know we have 4,500 subscribers, right, guys? And that's, I mean, hey, we're building, we're getting towards something. The thing is that, you know, to have a full-time income, a lot of channels are going to be like 100,000 or something like that. But like literally, if everybody chipped in the same amount of money that it costs for a sandwich and a soda, if all my subscribers bought me a sandwich and a soda next year, then that would almost be full-time income for me, which is incredible to fathom. So that's the idea here. Anyway, let's go. Brandon likes the results here. Okay, so the next team are the Tampa Bay Lightning. All right. I was getting kind of running. Okay. Tampa Bay. Now, they lost Andre Palat. That was the biggest loss for them. They also traded away Ryan McDonough. They got Philippe Myers. But they did that to help them shed some cap, because right now, the Lightning are in a bit of a cap crunch, which is understandable, right? That's the price of success in the NHL today. They bring in Vladislav Nemesnikov. We'll see if he slides into the top 6 or if he fits in on the third line. I like Ross Colton quite a bit. He came off a 22-goal season. Didn't even play 13 minutes of time on ice per game. So maybe he finds his way into the top line. But anyway, right now, they lose McDonough and Palat. They get Philippe Myers. They also got Ian Cole, who is a good depth defenseman from the Carolina Hurricanes. And as I mentioned earlier, Vladislav Nemesnikov on a very team-friendly deal. Favorite band? Oh man, that's tough. Real tough. I mean, if we can like pinch it down to a certain number of years where they were just in their prime, it would be like 1983 to 1988 Metallica. But I mean, there are bands who have come after them that I listened to just as much. And favorite food, I'm a pizza snob. I love pizza. But I mean, I love many types of cuisine, absolutely. All right, the Bolts. Yep, CJ. We got DoorDash on the way right now, actually. 12 votes. Can we get at least over 15 here, guys? They can very easily build around Vasilevsky. Yeah, and with the Lightning, I forgot to even mention, don't forget that they long-term signed Eric Chernak on defense, Mikhail Sergachev on defense, Anthony Cirelli, who I say has one of the best defensive skill sets in the NHL. I'd say he's one of the best 10 defenders, right? He's a forward, but he defends better than just about anybody in that position. All right. Only 14 votes. Come on, guys. Let's go. We can get there. 20 votes. Cast your vote. Come on. How many teams do we have left after this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. I might go through these pretty quickly now going forward, guys. So, get your mouse hand ready. I'm going to close this out in 10 seconds. And they drafted Isaac Howard. Okay, I don't know anything. I don't follow the draft all that closely. But hey, that can certainly be a factor in your grades. All right, closing this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow. Really, I'm impressed. We've got Tampa in the A tier, which, I mean, some people could certainly argue because they, again, are making the best of their situation with the salary cap. You know, McDonough was expendable, as good as he is defensively. Bringing in Philippe Myers and Ian Cole, that's not bad. So we have what is that? 6, 26, 26, 40. So this would actually slide them up into the A tier. Now, I got to grade them against Colorado, who's at the front of their tier as well. Because Colorado has more votes. See, here's the thing. Colorado has more votes for the B and A tier than Tampa does, even though Tampa's plurality is in the A tier. So I'm actually going to do something crazy here. Let's mix this up. I'm going to bump the Avalanche up into the A tier. And now I'm going to compare Tampa against Montreal. So Montreal was higher performing also in the top 2 tiers than Tampa was. But because the plurality is with 40% in the A tier, I'm going to put Tampa still in the A tier, but I'm going to give the Avalanche the benefit of the doubt and move them ahead. Hey, they beat them in the Stanley Cup final, so there you go. All right. All right. Next up. Oops, wait. Hold on a second. I accidentally... 1 second, guys. I accidentally put up a poll that we don't need to use right now. All right. We'll get rid of that. Okay. The next team here, we got 12 left. We got the Canucks. The Vancouver Canucks. Okay. Now they retained Bruce Boudreau as their head coach. All right. What do you guys think of Vancouver? Kind of a quiet offseason for them. Their biggest signing that I can think of off the top of my head is Ilya Mikheyev. Again, part of a good third line for the Maple Leafs with, I think that was with David Kampf and Andre Kasha. So I do like that move. He is at a steep cap hit, though. 4.75, I think, annually. Yeah. But that being said, he was good for them. That was their biggest acquisition at forward. With defense, they look pretty constant from last year. So really, that's the big move I can think of. I'm just trying to think. Travis Dermott was a trade deadline move, so that doesn't even count. So they held on to Boudreau. They didn't trade away JT Miller or Connor Garland or anybody else. And they signed Ilya Mikheyev for a little bit of for a depth role. So what do you guys think? Joe O'Keefe, how you doing? Maybe it's Yomo with a soft J. All right, guys. Cast your votes for the Vancouver Canucks. Right now we've got them 11 votes. Let's see if we can get at least over 15, guys. I think we can get closer to 20. Weigh in on the Vancouver Canucks. Again, no real big trades or anything like that. You can certainly factor in how they performed at the draft. Or maybe this team just wants to stand pat and get a full season with Bruce Boudreau at the helm, you know? You think the Preds are going to be in the A tier? Yeah, they had a pretty good offseason. All right, guys, cast your vote. I'm going to close this out in about 15 seconds. Kuzmenko. I don't know anything about Kuzmenko, honestly. Maybe I will as things progress. Okay, well, only 12 votes. Guys, I think we need more opinions, but I'm going to close this out. All right? So with the Canucks, they got 58% in the C tier. So let's take a look here, guys. What is that? It's 761.30 and 0. Okay, so they're going to be easily in the C tier, excuse me. So are they better than the Boston Bruins? Are they better than Boston? Yeah, actually, they are a little bit better than Boston. Are they better than Washington? No, they're not. So Vancouver is going to slide toward the end of the C tier here. I almost got scammed. Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear about that. But that kind of stuff does happen still these days. All right. Next up, we got the Coyotes. The Arizona Coyotes, kings of the draft picks. I'm kind of interested to see what you guys think of this one. Oh, CJ, I'm sorry to hear about that, man. All right. What about the Arizona Coyotes? Let's see if I can figure out what kind of moves they made in the offseason. They still have tons of cap space, guys. They're not even at the cap floor. They have $23 million in available space. They got a lot of assets by taking on Zach Cassian's contract. So they got, I think, like a second and a third and a fourth or something like that. Nick Bjugstad for a little bit of depth there. Just not even $1 million for him. They still need to extend Lawson Krause and Barrett Hayton. They'll be able to get that job done because, again, they have $23 million in cap space. They didn't trade away Jacob Chikrin. Really, those are the main moves. And, of course, this team has been stockpiling draft picks. So, kind of a different team to evaluate here. All right, I'll be right back, guys. I just got to grab something from the front door here, okay? Just cast your vote. I'll be right back. All right, Pokeworks. Sushi burrito. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, 28 people here. 29. Here we go. People are not fans of the Yotes offseason. All right, I'll give you 15 more seconds. Oh no. They forgot my wakame salad. They forgot my seaweed salad. Man, I was looking forward to that. Gonna have to file a little complaint. All right. Okay, so we're gonna close this out right now. 42% had them in D tier. So what here? We got 42, 26, 42, 26, 15, 15. Okay. So they do fit in the D tier. Are they worse than the Buffalo Sabres? Let's take a look at Buffalo here. 41, 35. No, they're a little bit better than Buffalo was. Are they better than the Sharks? Yeah, they are better than the Sharks. Are they better than the Flyers? Yeah, so Philly is worse, it looks like. So I'm going to put the Coyotes in the middle of the D tier. Okay. All right, Toronto's coming up next. The old Leafs. All right. Toronto, they made over their goaltending. No more Jack Campbell or Petr Mrazek. In comes Ilya Samsonov and Matt Murray. Like I said earlier, they lost Andre Kasha and Ilya Mikheyev. They bring in Kalle Yarncroke. That was he came over from the Calgary Flames. I got this like sushi burrito going on right here, so I got to take a bite of this while y'all cast your vote here. Yeah, seaweed salad. Dude, seaweed salad's amazing. It's super good. It's not like dried seaweed. It's actually seasoned and really good. All right, I'm gonna hail this thing. That's definitely doing it for me. Let's see if we can get over 20 votes, guys. Fast food, not really. It's close between B and C so far. You think that Samsonov could rebound with the Leafs? Don't forget, they'll have like Jake Muzzin healthy for a full season too. That's going to help. All right, that's one half down. I'll eat the other half next time. All right. Let's close this one out. Okay. So, interesting. We got a tie between the B and the C. 16, 38, 38, 5. Okay. So the Leafs are going to go in the C tier. Are they better than the Florida Panthers? Were they better than Florida? Ooh, this is a very different grade here. No, Florida was a little bit better. Were they better than Winnipeg? Were they better than Winnipeg? Let's see here. Yeah, they were. Okay, so Toronto is going toward the front of the C tier. And again, if this gets really stacked later on, we'll probably move a couple teams up into the B tier again. Okay. What region do I live in? I live in technically the Pacific Northwest, but I'm in the inland part, North Idaho. All right. Here we go. Next team is the Islanders. Oh, hey, our friend has graced us. I assume you got this one, CJ. Thank you. Okay. All the spice. Yeah, the Islanders, really not a whole lot to report on. They did trade away a first-round draft pick to get Alexander Romanov. They have to sign him. I think they also have to sign either Dobson or Wahlstrom. I forget, one of the two, and Kiefer Bellows. But other than that, really no big moves for Lamoriello and company. So cast your vote. So I would think that this is probably going to be kind of toward the C tier of things. But, and remember, the Kadri reports are not official or anything like that. Alright, this is gone in like 30 seconds. Except don't time me, I'm not trying to eat this super fast. Good point there, CJ. Of course, they did fire Barry Trotz, and in comes Lane Lambert. All right. Thanks for your patience while I take care of that. All right. Where do we have the Islanders so far, guys? All right, I'm going to close this out in 10 seconds, all right? How are we on time, by the way? 7:40 already, huh? CJ, nice. Okay. How are we doing, Justin? Good evening to you. All right, we'll close this out. Islanders are going in the C tier. Yeah, I'd probably have them there as well. All right, so what is that? 21, 42. Okay, this one's a little interesting. 21, 42. What is that? 26, 10. Okay. So where does that put them? How do they compare against the Penguins? Okay, they're worse than the Penguins. Okay. How do they compare against the Leafs? They're worse than Toronto is. Okay, well, yeah, duh. Washington, 753, 2020. They're worse than Washington. Are they worse than Vancouver? No, they're better than Vancouver. Not by much, though. All right. Islanders go right here. There we go. So, who knows? Maybe we'll kick Florida back up into the B tier. Okay. All right, Kings are coming up next, guys. All right, the LA Kings, the big one for them was, of course, trading for Kevin Fiala. I don't think they had to give up any huge assets for Fiala. They also extended Alex Edler. They extended Adrian Kempe, by the way, $5.5 million annually for the next 4 years. Really good deal, in my opinion. I think they extended Brendan Lemieux as well for a year. Gabe Villard comes back at $825K. And they also extended Mikey Anderson. No, they still have to do that, but they have the cap space. They could, but they still have him and Sean Dursey. So I don't know. They might be in a bit of a crunch. But that Fiala move, of course, is certainly the biggest splash for them so far. That Kempe, the Kempe signing was one of the best in the offseason. In my opinion, their leading goal scorer, and just really in the prime of his career. He's only 25 years old. Like, he's just approaching his best years. All right, 19 votes. Very nice. Let's see if we can get over 20. I'll give you guys about 15 seconds there. Okay, closing this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I see some new faces here, by the way, guys, and hopefully we can see you around for the offseason. We're going to do more streams like this every week, in addition to all the content that I'll upload on the channel. So do subscribe, join the Twist Brigade. We do embrace fans of all teams here. Okay, so we have, what is that? 0, 25, 60, 15. 0, 25, 60. 0, 25, 60, and 15. All right, and that's for the Kings. So now, how do the Kings stack up against the Edmonton Oilers? Okay, not quite as good. Are they better than Calgary? Yeah, by the slightest of margins. Yeah, so LA is going to finish right here between Edmonton and Calgary. All right. Avs going back-to-back. That'd be really crazy if we had two teams go back-to-back consecutively. When was the last time that happened? Right? That would be the Islanders and the Oilers, I'm pretty sure. Okie doke. Next team. Where's Dan? It's the Red Wings. How do you evaluate the Yzer plan at this stage? They, of course, made several splashes in free agency, getting the likes of the following. Ben Sherratt on the backside. I know that certainly analytically, he's not the best defenseman. Add some physicality. They add Andrew Kopp. They add Dominic Kubalik for some depth scoring. They also added David Perron from the Blues. Those are their biggest moves that I can think of. They also got Olli Mata. Let's not forget about him. You can, of course, talk about their draft as well. And their head coach for next season after relieving Blashill is going to be, not Mike Lalonde, not Derek Lalonde, Lalonde, a former assistant with the Tampa Bay Lightning. So that does certainly have a pedigree to it. Joshua, how you doing? Thanks for hopping in here. Blues always compete. I'm a bit concerned, though, considering Binnington. Sure, he can be your number one, but Thomas Greiss did not play well for the Red Wings this last year. All right, 21 votes. We got 32 people here. Can we get to 25 votes? Yeah, the Andrew Kopp signing was a big-time dub, yeah? The decor is going to be a lot better. Yeah, especially if they bring in Edvinsson and, of course, have somebody in a more veteran role to sort of mentor him. Yeah, we're almost getting to the Preds. We'll be there pretty soon. All right, I'm closing this out in about 10 seconds, and then we got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams left. We'll go through these kind of quickly, guys, because I do need to get to some other stuff here. All right, so closing it out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. 14, 18, 23, 45. Okay, so with that being said, the Red Wings are going into the A tier. Are the Red Wings better than the Lightning? That's by a small margin, but yeah. Are they better than the Avalanche? No, they're not. So the Red Wings do get high marks, but not quite the top. They are A tier nonetheless. Well done. Okay. Pick a number between 1 and 10. 8. All right, next team. The Knights. Out is Peter DeBoer. In is Bruce Cassidy. And I would say that actually could work out pretty well for them. Not to mention this team will actually be healthy. But in terms of what they did in the offseason, to help them with their salary cap situation, they traded away Max Pacioretty. Although it really wasn't for anything. So you have to factor that in addition to the coaching change. They also traded away Evgeny Dadonov. He had 1 year left at $5 million. So that was some cap space, some cap relief that they needed as well. So you've got that. They have Shea Weber's contract, essentially, for long-term injured reserve. The thing with the Knights is that they still have to sign Keegan Colasar and Nicholas Waugh. Nick Hague, I think, was also part of this as well. So they're kind of up against the cap, and somebody like Waugh was almost a 40-point player for them last year. $21 votes. Let's see if we can get to about 25. We'll give you guys about 15 seconds to sound off here. Check Cash App. Did you? I don't have Cash App. Did you just literally donate me $8? Or am I just jumping to conclusions here? All right, closing this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so it's a tie for DF or C, but I think we'll put Vegas in C just because there's nothing lower than DF. So what was that? 37, 37, 24. Now, let's see here. The Knights, were they better than Boston? Yes. Ooh, actually, that's tough because Boston only had 12% in the bottom tier. Were they better than Vancouver? No. Were they better than Buffalo, who is in the D tier? Yes. Okay. So yeah, Buffalo and Vegas are drawing the line right now between C and D tiers. Okay? So who knows? We might have to shuffle these around later on. Moose, how we doing? I think the Kraken are going to be doing better. Did CJ just send me $8? I don't know. I don't have a notification just yet. But thanks, of course, if you did. All right, let's see here. Okay, let's go to the next one. And that's the Preds. Okay. So the Nashville Predators. They made some splashes. One of them was dealing away Philippe Myers, but in return, they get Ryan McDonagh. It wasn't just that in the transaction, but that's kind of the basis of it, right? They also signed Nino Niederreiter to a pretty team-friendly deal, $4 million annually at just 2 years on that contract. They got rid of Luke Kunin. Analytically, not a very good player, but he did pot 15 goals on a third line for them last year. And then they lose, of course, David Riddick, but they gain Kevin Lankinen from the Blackhawks because Jussi Saros is going to start 74 games next year. It's not just a jersey number. You hate Binnington? Yeah, I don't mind the Blues whatsoever, but yeah, Binnington's kind of a tool, isn't he? Kind of had like 90 penalty minutes. Fair. Yeah, for me, Nashville would be kind of... I like the McDonagh signing for sure. I'd probably have them in the B tier myself. And yes, thank you for your donation, CJ. But yeah, we got the Super Chat option open here. But if you want to send another way, I do accept PayPal and Venmo. You just see the video description down below for that info. All right, 23 votes. Let's close this out in about 10 seconds, guys. that says quite a bit there, Mickey. And I'm a Sharks fan, and we hate Corey Perry too. But Binnington has not been particularly cordial with us either. Like when he tried to when he faked slashing one of our players. After this is when he's skating off to the bench because I think he got benched that game or to the locker room. Anyway, let's go. Let's close this out. And Nashville gets a pretty high mark here. So 0, 26, 39, 34. So 0, 26, 39, 34. So very comfortably in the B tier. Are they better than Montreal? Ooh, that's close, but no. So Montreal's still better. Are they better than Anaheim? Yes, they are. So the Predators are still toward the front of the B tier. Okay, this is looking good. We have a nice even dispersal of grades for the most part here. I like it. What should your first hockey jersey be? Oh my gosh, let's everybody respond to that from Junie here. It's like, come on, I mean, of course I'm going to tell you what your first jersey should be. It should be a teal jersey. All right, next team, we've got 4 left. Oh, this one's interesting, right? We've got the Jackets. Their biggest move, of course, landing Johnny Gaudreau in free agency. They also signed Eric Goodbranson, who, not the worst defenseman out there, but he's going to have some responsibility in a second pairing, I would think, for this Blue Jackets team. Did they make any other big moves, the Columbus Blue Jackets? Not to my knowledge. Let's take a look at the Blue Jackets here while you guys cast your vote or contemplate casting your vote. God, I'm trying to find their freaking logo. All right. So the Jackets, they extended Patrick Laine. Ooh, 8.7 by 4. He was a point per game player, though. And of course, yeah, Johnny Gaudreau. That's really the main moves to talk about here with these guys. They didn't make any big trades now, did they? Not really. They got Matthew Oliver from the Predators for a 4th rounder. And they traded away Oliver Bjorkstrand. I forgot to say that, right? They got a 3rd and a 4th for next year for Oliver Bjorkstrand, a guy who put up near 60 points this past season. All right. 36 people tuning in. Thank you guys so much for being here. Like I said, we're going to do a live stream most likely every Wednesday in the offseason, and I'll be uploading videos on my channel. We've got one queued up tomorrow. The biggest burning question facing every NHL team heading into this upcoming season. Who is very underrated? You know, I'm glad that Jonas Siegenthaler got extended recently because in terms of a good stay-at-home defenseman, Siegenthaler is certainly one of those players. And if we're talking about Columbus, I mean, perennially Boone Jenner should be considered for the Selke Trophy. All right, 27 votes. That looks pretty good to me. I'll close it out in 10 seconds, guys. Didn't the Jackets lose somebody? Bjorkstrand was definitely the biggest piece that they lost, I think. Okay, I'm going to cut this off in 3, 2, 1. And yeah, Columbus could very well be in the A tier. So that's what, 10, 14, 32, 42. Okay, so 10, 14, 22, no, excuse me, 32, 22, or 42, excuse me. All right, CBJ. Now, how do they compare against other teams? Are they better than Tampa? Yes, they are. Did they have a better offseason than the Red Wings did? Let's take a look here. Did they have a better offseason than the Red Wings? Yes, they did. Did they have a better offseason than the Avalanche? No, they didn't. Okay, so the Avalanche are still a little bit ahead of them. So Columbus into the A tier, though. Very strong offseason in your eyes, everybody. All right, we've got 3 teams left, and we're going to go to the St. Louis Blues. And again, guys, if I miss any big moves that were made in the offseason, you guys can let me know. But when I think of the Blues, the first big move, I think, is the loss of Ville Husso, who was really good for a good stretch of the season, the regular season, faltered a bit down the stretch and in the playoffs. But even so, he was of value this past season for St. Louis. Thomas Greiss, previously with the Red Wings, is now their backup. They extended Nick Leddy, right? Okay. Let's see here. The Blues. What other big moves did they make? They brought in Noel Achari from Florida. I know that. I like Achari for like a fourth line role. Excuse me. They didn't trade for Matthew Tkachuk. That's pretty. They were pretty quiet though for the most part, outside of the goaltending. Thomas got the big boy contract. Yeah, and he got paid. Absolutely. I haven't watched him enough, but I love watching Kyrou. Let's be honest. Okay, 20 votes. We've got 33 people. Can I get to 25 votes? Oh, yeah, they also lost David Perron. Thank you for pointing that out, Wild Fan. But yeah, if I'm going to do these live streams on Wednesdays, I probably will stick to my time of 6 p.m. Pacific for starting the stream. Probably. Who knows? Maybe I'll do like a weekend stream or something like that at one point and make it more friendly for people in like Europe, for example. All right, 25 votes. I'm going to close this out in 10 seconds. All right, Samantha, have a good night. All right. And let's close this out now. So we're looking at, what's that? 1550-31. All right, so where do these guys rank? Let's try against the Capitals. Are they better than Washington or worse? They're better than Washington. Okay, so we would have them toward the front. Where do they rank against the Florida Panthers? 13-31, we have, okay. They're not as good as the Panthers. Right. What about against the Jets? Against the Jets, they are better than the Jets. Better than the Jets. Let's see here. Pittsburgh, they're not quite as good as Pittsburgh. So they're between Pittsburgh and Winnipeg in our computations here, everybody. All right, we got two more teams to grade here, everyone. We'll start with the... And Wild Fan, you stuck around this whole stream. I don't think we have any Rangers fans in the chats, do we? All right, let's look at the Rangers. All right, let's go. So the Rangers, their biggest acquisition was Vincent Trocheck. Their biggest losses were Andrew Kopp, Ryan Strome, and Frank Vetrano. Now, two of those guys, of course, came to the team during the trade deadline, so it's not the biggest blow to them, but they did help them get all the way to 2 wins within the Stanley Cup final, advancing to the Stanley Cup final. They also signed Ryan Carpenter to a year, I believe. They lost Brendan Smith, but not a huge loss on defense there. Yes, Georgiev traded out, right? So they got assets for Georgiev, which I like. I'm not a big Georgiev believer, not yet. Watch him like be a Vezina finalist with Colorado. But they got Yaroslav Halak as the new backup to Igor Shesterkin. They're still a contender? I think they are, yeah. It's because they're so good defensively. And those guys are only going to get better. Fox, Lindgren, Miller. I'm a big Keandre Miller fan. I think that guy is a terrific defenseman. So, I would say that if I were to grade this, I'd probably put them at like the low end of the B tier. In other words, it was inevitable that they would lose pieces, but Trocheck is a great addition. Gives them a little bit stronger of a net front presence versus players like Zibanejad or Panarin. I don't think I have Kreider, though, of course. He is like the epitome of net front presence, especially for somebody undersized. So maybe I'll take that back. But I like Trocheck quite a bit. Whoa, Mickey, that is something else, huh? All right. How we doing on votes, guys? 22 votes. All right, I'm going to close this out in 10 seconds. All right, let's conclude here. So 5, 32, 45. So wait, let's see that. Oh, 4. I'm sorry. 4, 31, 45. And 18 for A tier. Okay. So let's see here. They're going to go in the B tier. Now, is this going to be any better than the Devils? 430. So 57, 14. Ooh, that's tough math for me. I don't think that's quite as good. Did they perform better than Edmonton? Not quite. Not quite. Looks like Edmonton was better. Were they better than LA? No, LA was stronger too, it looks like. Yeah, a little bit weaker than LA. What about Calgary? Yes, they were better than Calgary. So I'm going to stick the Rangers just ahead of Calgary in between them and the Kings. And we got one more. Hey, Colin, how you doing, man? Undersized? Well, as in not 6'2" and 200 pounds. And like Trocheck's like 5'10", what, like 185 or something like that. Hey, Matt, what's going on, dude? How you doing? All right, we got one more team here, and that's the Wild. Another interesting team to evaluate here for the offseason, I think. So, would you grade the Wild at the A level, the B, the C, or the D/F? Why didn't they re-sign Vetrano? Well, when I look at their cap space right now, they only have like $1 million left in available cap space. So that's kind of what's coming to mind. And they have to think about, Lafreniere next year. They have to think about, Kakko, they did extend Kakko. Heedle's going to be an RFA after next year as well. So they do have to be a little bit mindful of that. Anyway, for the Minnesota Wild, they did extend Marc-Andre Fleury and traded away Cam Talbot. They are kind of taking on the brunt of this buyout from King Tone. Hey, thank you so much. Can we throw it down in the chat for King Tone here? Thank you kindly. That's wonderful of you. There's a reason why King is in your name, yeah? Mega hype. I really do appreciate that. Anyway, getting back to the Wild here. They are kind of eating up that buyout from Parisi and Suter. I think that's the most brutal cap hit that they'll suffer in this next coming season. They also lost Kevin Fiala. They lost Nick Delorier, who was a trade deadline acquisition. And they extended Jacob Middleton. I want to point that out. 3 years at $2.5 annually is a great deal for how he fit in there. And he had a really good year with the Sharks too. So I like that a lot. Philip Gustafsson, who played for, I believe, the Senators, is the backup for Fleury. Kind of unproven. I think he's only played like 27 games in the NHL. But yeah, in terms of acquisitions, not much in the way for the Wild here that I can think of. So the final team here, guys, what do you think? We got 16 votes. We got 25 people here. I think we should crank this up to at least 20 votes to close things out for what has been a very engaging stream with you wonderful, wonderful Twisters. Thank you, King Tone. I appreciate that. Hey, I'm hoping we can do more streams like this through the off season and through the regular season as well. Who knows? Maybe, guys, maybe I'll do a live stream while I'm in Europe for the start of the regular season. That's an interesting way to look at Wildfan. I'm not as in tune to the intricacies of their cap management. All right, I'm going to close this out in about 10 seconds. Can the Rangers contend for the Cup next year? Yes. Their defense and goaltending is certainly good enough for that. And if those kids, right, Hedel, Lafreniere, and Kakko, if they can build on the playoffs, they weren't perfect, but they still were contributors out there. Lafreniere actually had a pretty good regular season. Then, yeah, I think that they're Stanley Cup contenders. All right, well, the Wild are in the B tier, technically. So let's just see. Oh, man. I mean, I almost have to put them in the C tier. Actually, you know what? Let's compare them to the Panthers, who are in the C tier, because I think that would be more fair to evaluate it that way. All right, let's look at Mini here. So they finish what? 27, 27, 33. 33, 11. Okay. So let's see. Florida, 31, 22. Oh, yeah, Florida was better than the Wild. Yeah, Florida finished better than the Wild did. What about the Maple Leafs? 16-38? No, wait, 16-38. 38-5. No, the Wild were still better than the Maple Leafs. So I'm going to do something interesting here. We're actually going to do boop, and we're going to do... Sorry, Schmegus. No, don't worry. We'll put you ahead of the Sharks because the people spoke. But yeah, we're looking at basically that. I drop the Bruins down too. You guys know I don't like that. But look at that. It's much more even that way, right? You got, what, 7 teams? Yeah, you got 7, 9, 9, 7. I think that's pretty fair, frankly. And I did actually look at the proportions on our voting results as well. So anyway, that is what we're looking at for the off-season grades. Hey, guys, we're going to be doing this again next week. I'll be putting out a poll on my channel about what you guys want our live stream to be all about. So definitely subscribe, hit the notifications bell, make sure your device enables notifications as well. That way you will be notified for everything that I upload to my channel. Subscribe if you're new here. Hit the thumbs up, right? That'll attract other great fans like yourselves. Guys, thank you so much for the super chats and for a very engaging stream. And we'll do this again next week. Stick around. I've got a video coming out tomorrow, biggest burning question for every team heading into this upcoming season. And I'm going to be working on a preview for the upcoming World Juniors, which is August 9th. So I'm going to get that up a day or two before then. So stick around. We have much more engaging content here on the channel. And yeah, thank you for being here. And hopefully we can have some more fun talking about the offseason and the upcoming season. So I appreciate you Twisters so much for tuning in. Once again, I'm Nick. That's Cortana. And we'll catch you guys again real soon. Have a great night.